The apple didn't fall from far. The apple didn't fall far from the tree. Far from the tree.
There's an apple sitting right there.
I swear. My goodness. How is it Sunday again?
I
don't understand time.
I have one of those weekly pill boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I keep one of them on the little coffee table in front of us as we're watching television at night. And every time I reach in and it's empty, it's like, did a week just...
Wait a minute.
I just filled this up the other day.
I know.
No, I guess the other day was 7 days ago.
I'm confuzzled and kerfluffled. Absolutely. How are you? We're okay. How are you, Chris? Hi from Birmingham, Alabama. Hello, Jerry. Happy Sunday from Maricopa, Arizona.
All right.
If it is half as warm in Arizona as it is here in LA, good grief. Mark says, where's your cartoon t-shirt? You know what? He actually dressed up a bit more like a person today, ever so slightly. But this is good. You have a cool pin on.
You adjust something ever so much.
Yeah. They go, what are you doing?
Watching.
What are you doing?
They are paying attention.
Who is the dogs have started bringing us rocks as a token of their love. And you two, believe me when I say, I appreciate it, but I'd rather not get rocks. Given my druthers, I'd rather you not bring rocks in the house.
Since you mentioned the pin, I might as well show it.
Yeah. I don't know if you really can at all from that angle.
Should I just take it off?
Yes, I think that may be an easier way.
In order to display it properly?
I think that may be an easier way to do this.
Okay. I'm very fond of this pin.
It's a good one.
And it's fond of my shirt. It doesn't want to let go.
Yeah. We probably have tape on it somewhere.
No.
Because it's so sharp. The bottom is sharp, at least.
Yeah. All right. Has the famous Paramount logo, Paramount Pictures on the mountain there. Barney Balaban's 5th anniversary, it says. Chicago, January 23rd, 1941.
Yep.
You do this better than I.
Yeah, it's all right. This is my moment to be Vanna White. So it's a really cool little Paramount pin.
And Barney Balaban was the uncle of the actor Bob Balaban.
Yes.
Whom we just interviewed a few weeks ago.
Yes, who's so interesting.
Podcast. Yes.
Such an interesting man.
And I asked him if he knew, forgive me if I'm repeating something, but I asked him,
how dare you, sir?
How old he was when he realized that his family was deeply entrenched in the theater business. He said, all I really knew is that I never had to pay to go to the movies.
I could always go to the movies for free, which I thought was a great answer. Because when you're young, especially, it's true. Like, you just don't think about something as being unique. Mm-hmm. It's just your life. Yeah. So, for him, it was just, this is cool because it means that I get to go to the movies.
But it came to me, a present from Alexa Foreman,
a friend of ours who worked for TCM for a long time. That's how we met her.
I worked very closely with Robert Osborne. Mm-hmm. It had a space here, which it originally had in a place card sort of format, the designated person.
Name.
So I just wrote in the head usher.
Yeah, we printed that ourselves.
I thought that was inappropriate.
Printed it ourselves, and now here it is. These two. Someone asked, is it difficult having puppies in a house full of collectibles? Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Although the collectibles are not what they've gone after. They've gone after.
Well, except for the stuff you've left on the floor.
Well, yeah.
You crazy, crazy person.
A book.
No. What did she tore like a
program from an old.
But that's the thing is when you have little babies in the house, that's what they're gonna do. And she's so tall. Mabel, who is now 7 months and has the longest legs I've ever seen in my life. My husband calls her the leggy blonde. She is the cutest menace. And then her now brother, Logan, who's between 1 and 2. Logan has the tiniest legs ever. So whenever he's barking, that's what my husband and I like to pretend he's saying. He's just going, "I've got little legs," which, again, I understand. That's a very fair thing to feel. And I'm sorry you have such tiny legs, Logan. I really am. So hi, everybody.
Hello.
Happy Sunday. Again, I'm not really sure where the time goes, how it's Sunday again, but here we are. There were some really interesting things that happened this week. One in particular being the costume thing that I read to you, the piece I read to you in Variety. And I just spoke to Mona May.
Oh, good.
Who is in Amsterdam right now filming a new Liam Neeson movie, which is so cool. Mona May, who will be on our podcast soon, we've known her for a long time now. If you don't know the name offhand, Mona May, she is an incredible costume designer. And I mean, the most famous thing you would know her from is Clueless. And those outfits, again, my dad and I always talk about, we don't like these buzzwords that people have taken all of the weight out of. If something is iconic, it's because it's iconic. It's not just because you go, "Oh my God, that shirt is iconic." It's not. If something is awesome, it is meant to produce
Inspire
awe. There
Yeah.
should be awe. And perhaps your cheeseburger does inspire awe-ness. I don't know. But in theory, So, Mona May, one of my heroes, really and truly. She also did the costume design and the costuming for Enchanted. And
she came to my class. This is Enchanted is how many years ago now? Gosh,
a while.
At the time, the Disney company wasn't sure it wanted to show its films to my 20-somethings at USC because they were worried that they would feel superior and kind of laugh at the films or be condescending in some way. And that wouldn't help word of mouth or spread good buzz here in LA. Well, it turns out they are the biggest fans of Disney. Suckers, one almost might say, for Disney Entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
And I've shown every animated feature and every Pixar film since then.
And they love it.
And but on that occasion, they weren't going to do any hustling to get guests.
Yeah.
Well, so I got in touch with James Baxter, the former Disney staff animator who had set out on his own and who, under contract, produced all that great animation that you see in Enchanted. He found a lot of other
hand-drawn.
Yeah, hand-drawn, two-dimensional animation.
Hand-drawn animation.
And it turns out that some of his colleagues were also between gigs.
Yes,
and he got some of the cream of the crop.
He got some of the best.
So I had him. That's great. But then, was it you who went after him? How did we do that?
I forget how.
Anyway, and it turns out that he and Mona worked together on the film.
And this is so interesting.
Because if you remember the movie with Amy Adams, what happens is it starts out as animation.
In Andalasia, that it's animated. And then these animated characters have to come to life. Well, so she had to design. So do their outfits.
Yep. So he couldn't just design whatever he wanted or have one of his staff people design whatever he wanted for the characters.
Yeah.
It had to be something that would adapt to live action.
To making it real. So she talked about things like getting James Marsden's sleeves puffy enough. They're in this prince and princess outfit. How do you get those? How do you get the height for her dress, for her incredible dress that she wears? Again, how do you make these things
She had to come
real?
up. She had to come up through a manhole cover.
Yeah,
through a manhole in the street.
Yeah. There's so many details to it, and it is so interesting. Again,
they were great guests.
Yeah,
the two of them together, perfect guests actually. And
Mona's really fun.
Yeah,
she's fun. She's the perfect person to be a part of something like this in terms of teaching, because she's so enthusiastic and just loves it. So I think she's been to class more than once actually.
Yeah,
she's just
now with Clueless. It's a rare instance of a lot of costume designers dislike the word fashion because they're not creating fashion.
Yeah.
They're creating an expression of the characters.
Yeah, that's the whole.
That's what, as our friend Deborah Landis says, costume is character.
Yes.
And it's true. But in this case, in the case of Clueless, it set a style.
Yeah.
But
that actually goes into, so the reason I bring this up, the reason I bring her up is that there is a fascinating conversation going on right now. And there's a great article in Variety that I think is just really, it should be required reading. And the reason I say that is, as I wait for it to load, the reason I say it is exactly what you're talking about, which is fashion. Well, at what point is something inspired by, and at what point is it copying or using something without the permission?
Or copying precisely, which is, say, replicating it.
So there are things like everyone recognizes the outfit from Breakfast at Tiffany's, right? Everybody recognizes
the little black dress,
the LBD, but that's also the hair done a very specific way, the pearls. Well, most people, I would think every college girl at this point has done that for Halloween at least once. But now that's paying homage, right? And if you just go out and you get all those pieces together and you wear it, there's nothing wrong with that. But what happens when someone packages that outfit and sells it as a Halloween costume? Well, shouldn't the person who created it get a cut of some kind, or at the very least,
an acknowledgement? Yeah.
At the very least, credit. So this has all come up because of the film Cruella. And this article, which you can look up, the title says, Cruella designer snubbed over licensing, Costume Designers Guild decries unfair practices.
Who wrote it?
It's KJ Yasmin, who I don't know, but it was published on June 2nd. I say published. So this is, what he posted? Who says, can't say, it doesn't sound
publish
right.
This okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So this whole thing is a conversation about the fact that there are so many times when a costume designer is, again, not only not given credit for something, but not included. So this article talks about how Cruella ended up doing the film, Disney ended up doing a tie-in with a fashion company called Rag & Bone, using outfits that were essentially identical to the things that Jenny Bevan, who is a famous costume designer, Oscar-winning, nominated, all the rest, they took her outfits and put them onto Rag & Bone, but never talked to her about it, never asked her about it, certainly are not including her in any kind of a profit share situation. But again, not even giving her credit. How can you not give the person credit at the very least?
What does that cost you as a company?
You know, at the very least, you could say something to her. You could say, hey, we're doing this thing with Rag & Bone and we're going to be using your designs. Because again, it's one thing to have, it's one thing for something to just be known as a representation. If you're going to dress up as The Simpsons, I know it sounds silly, but white shirt, blue pants, right? There's some simple things that you can do. But if you're going to actually take the full-on design, if you're going to take an outfit from the movie,
in a film that is very much about
fashion, yeah, and you're not going to even tell the person who created it, you're not going to give them any credit, you're not going to offer them any kind of a cut. And the way she found out about it was a friend saying, hey, did you have anything to do with this? And her saying, no. It's just mind-blowing. And as I say, I bring it up because it's a conversation that's being had more and more.
Yeah. It's like it's the equivalent of being plagiarized.
It's not the equivalent. It's plagiarism.
Well, I mean, plagiarism.
No, I know, but I mean, that's what it is.
And I have been plagiarized in my career.
Yeah.
And there's no way to describe the feeling. There's no way to describe the feeling. You've been robbed. You've been violated. Yeah. You know, it's astonishing.
Yeah. And again, when you think about how much time goes into, especially big movies, but really anything, you know, the time and the effort and the care that has gone into sketching these designs, bringing them to life, inevitably doing it more than once by a lot, you know. And then they brought up that, as I say, they don't get anything for the when they do collectibles or anything like that. When they do collectibles, when they do action figures, whatever, and they're using this stuff, nothing.
You could say, well, then they shouldn't have signed away those rights. Well, that's in the boilerplate of, I guess, of these contracts.
Yeah. And the article talks about that more and more they're trying to fix that. They're trying to make sure that they do say something. But it's just, I find it really upsetting and really frustrating because there are so many artists face this on a very regular basis. And I just think that it's terrible. Mark's asking if you can give an example of a time you were plagiarized. Well, there was that kid. Remember this?
No.
See, it's happened so many times. I don't even think you remember half of them. There was a young kid who was getting a lot of attention and his dad was really pushing it because they were saying, look at this kid movie reviewer. That's so cool that this is what he does. And he writes these reviews. They were quite literally copied and pasted. And it got to us because someone was saying, oh, Leonard, isn't this neat? There's this, because he must have been like 8 or 9. And this is years ago. And they said, this is so cool, this little kid who's doing this and how fun. And we looked and we all went,
I remember ages and ages ago, the Boston Globe used to have a Sunday insert TV section that you pull out, TV guides sort of. And they took all their reviews and ratings for the movies directly from my book.
Yeah.
And I told my publisher, and they called the Boston Globe, who their instant reaction was to deny it.
Right.
When it was, black and white was pretty easy to see. And then so we got a settlement, got them to stop, and they gave us a settlement. And the LA Times, this is generations ago, did the same.
Yeah.
But then there are more personal versions of that. It's never a fun experience.
1 second. Sorry. And today that kid is a Hollywood suit. Yeah, right? So Ben's saying, well, wait, aren't the Cruella costumes themselves derived from those in 101 Dalmatians? Now, in theory, yes, but really only the one you think of. So when we think of Cruella, we think of the yellow coat. Someone else William is saying the iconic yellow fur coat and bag with the red lining matching shoes. Yes, all of that is absolutely Mark Davis and all those people who created it. But Cruella, the film, goes way deeper than that. Really, again, it's funny how color can represent something. If you want to do Cruella de Vil, you get a split wig with one side white, one side black, and you essentially wear anything red. And that immediately for people evokes Cruella. But I'm talking about they created specific fashion for this film, dresses and what have you. And those exact dresses were then copied and put onto these websites for sale. And that, absolutely, animation is, again, a whole other thing. But I'm talking about more so the live action. In the same way, you couldn't say, how does Dick Tracy, you couldn't say that the person who did the film for Dick Tracy came up with Dick Tracy's look, because they didn't. It's from, the comics originally. But when you take something from whatever it is and you literally just go yoink and put it somewhere else, that's, I don't think that's anyone's idea of fair. And again, even if it's not monetary, a lot of it's just respect. And if you, at the very least, said all of these were inspired by Jenny Bevan's creations, and I mean, that's the least you can do.
Yeah.
At least then you're acknowledging that you didn't just go, "Ooh, I made this," And again, for anybody, whether you're a filmmaker or a writer, whatever it is, when you see that you've been plagiarized in any fashion, it's pretty damn upsetting.
Yeah, it is.
And especially creative types. And we see this all the time with music.
Yep.
Same thing. And there are ways to get around, you can be, now there's a term in jazz, quoting. And that's when someone will be singing and then they bring in some lyrics or maybe some of the music from something else.
This is before sampling became.
Yeah. Before sampling was a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, as I say, it's something that is a big deal to me because in part we know so many costume designers. But again, also we know and we love artists, And it really upsets me when an artist is disrespected in any way. Hi, Logan. You want to come say hi?
Just to flip things around, new topic. Today is Drive-In Movie Day.
Hey.
Because today, June 6th, was the date the first drive-in movie opened, I think in New Jersey.
Wow.
And if you go to our friend April Wright's website, goingattractions.com,
yes,
she is celebrating that fact.
Yeah.
And I think offering copies of her film at a discount, and all that kind of stuff.
This is Logan if you haven't met him yet. This is our Logan.
This is Logan if you have met him yet.
This is Logan if you have met him yet. Yeah. This is Logan. This is our Logan. And it's really been funny, of course, because since the pandemic, all of a sudden drive-ins have become a thing again.
She's going to do a sequel.
Of course she is.
About the return of the drive-in.
Because you remember how long ago she started working on Going Attractions. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't surprise me at all. It's a great film, and you can find it lots of places. So that's always good. Christopher's saying, can you explain why? Sorry. Can you explain why shows do not always show all the credits for the people on a film, like Star Trek? Yeah, the original series Enterprise, that do not show everyone who worked on show. Because it comes down to time. And again, when I'm talking about respect, that's right there. It drives us insane when you watch something and at the end, the credits just, so it'll be, the worst part is it'll be like executive producer slow, producers slow, and then you get to everyone else who worked on the movie and it just goes fring.
I think the Directors Guild actually had to negotiate.
I'll bet they did.
For a 2-second
I'll bet that they did.
On the director's name. That was a battle.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled.
No.
Why? It's time. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's time. They don't want to spend the time.
And I'm a compulsive credit reader.
Yeah.
So this
and
is
you've raised a compulsive credit reader.
And I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
There is now an option on Netflix.
Supposedly.
It's there. It's there.
I can't ever get my thumb there fast enough.
Yeah, I know. Now, is that the remote's fault or is that your thumb's fault?
Well, I think it's my phone's fault.
Sure.
You're asking my opinion. That's my opinion.
No, but there is an option because people were so upset about this, and they were just like, what are you doing? You know, you're taking it and you're throwing it away, and I want to watch the credits.
Yep.
Now, I do like that some streaming services like Amazon, when you pause, it'll tell you everyone who's in a scene.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yes, it's fun.
Because it is, sometimes you're sitting there going, oh, what is that voice? Or what is that? I can't remember. And then it pops up and you think, okay, I got it now. My mom is a master at identifying voices.
Unbelievable.
It is.
She has such a sharpened sense of hearing.
She can hear it. But I suppose the one that she hasn't gotten before is Ian McShane.
Yeah.
That's the one where she always thinks it's someone else. And whenever she thinks it's someone else, I now know it's Ian McShane. As soon as she goes, I'm just not, it's Ian McShane. I got it. Don't worry.
The other morning I saw on TCM, they have these filler, I call them filler pieces, but little entr'acte pieces called What a Character, about great character actors. And this one was about John Quaylen, one of the top character actors of the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And they have different people doing these voiceovers.
Yeah.
It's not a single voice doing the series. I said, who is that voice? I know that voice. And it took me fully 5 minutes to recognize my friend Stephen Tobolowsky.
Which is funny because you had dinner with him 3 nights prior, I think. Stephen Tobolowsky is another one. We had him on the show a while ago. Mm-hmm. I always say the most fascinating careers to me will always be character actors mm-hmm. because they have worked with everyone. There are character actors who will be in 3 of the biggest movies in a year, mm-hmm. you know, because they're not the lead. They may have time, you know, they may have the ability. So you'll speak to someone who has worked with everyone from Spielberg to Kubrick. You know, it's insane. The number of people that they've been with. And I am always sort of blown away by that. You know, obviously we love history here. And so to me, knowing that there are people alive who worked with the names that don't seem real.
Yeah.
Which is why when our friend Norman Lloyd passed away a few weeks ago, it was so upsetting because Norman was someone who worked with
He was
Hitchcock,
a connection. He was a connection
Orson
with
Welles.
the past, a living,
You know?
a living link to the past.
Yeah. And when someone is talking about Hitch and calling them Hitch, you know, how many people nowadays can say that?
Yep.
And knew them well. Yeah, we do lose a bit of our connection to history, but what can you do? You like the black and white mini? I'm so glad. Yeah, these are really cute.
I think those were done in Japan.
Yeah, they're adorable.
This
and
is from Two Gun Mickey.
They're made of
Vinyl.
some kind of vinyl-y plastic situation. I think they're so fun. I love these, and I love anything that I'm not worried about breaking. Which again, because these are vinyl, they're a bit safer. But yeah, I think they're so much fun. We're big on faces. I cannot stand something when the face isn't right, which is why I don't actually love this Lone Ranger. Because to me, he doesn't look like Clayton Moore.
Well, he wasn't trying to do Clayton Moore. He's trying to do.
I know. Yeah. But that's why in my head I'm going, why doesn't he look like Clayton Moore? If you have to do that. Is there something significant about the Heinz ketchup bottle? Yeah,
it's big.
Well,
there was a store. There was a store. We lived for many years very, very near Universal Studios. And when I say near, I mean spitting distance, almost literally. And
don't spit.
All right.
You're better than that.
Expectorate. So they had the earliest incarnation of City Walk, which is back open again now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Stores, restaurants, you know, places to go. And I was always looking as a dad, looking for activities, things to, you know, occupy my young daughter. And there was a store called Think Big. And Think Big sold gigantic versions of all these familiar brand name products.
They had a giant checkers set, a giant chess set, just anything gigantic you can think of, they had.
And we had fun going in window shopping, observing.
Yeah, window shopping, as if you window shopped.
Well,
we have that. We have a giant mustard. My favorite thing is they used to be in our kitchen, and people would always say, "Are they full?" And again, you know, my natural reaction to any question along those lines is, "Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Oh, yeah, they're full. They're full of ketchup and mustard." We also have giant ice cream cones. Mm-hmm. We have. I'm not saying you have a problem, but you did like
what is the brand on the ice cream? Eat It All.
Yeah, Eat It All.
Eat It All.
We got two of those.
Yeah.
What I like to imagine, because I don't remember, is when you purchase these things, carrying them home. I'm too young to remember that.
I don't remember that part either.
But I do enjoy that.
I choose not to remember that part.
Yeah, always funny. All right. Yeah, if you don't know, we do multiple platforms on Sundays. So that's why I always say you can join us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So there's lots of places you can find us.
And if that's why, if the eye contact doesn't seem
quite because we have multiple screens.
Right. It's because we have multiple screens here going on.
Right. So you go, "Hi, Brittany." It's my friend Brittany. "Hi, Brittany." Yes, we did move. We moved 7 years ago, something like that. Yep. Yeah. And let me tell you, we still have boxes. We have still not fully unpacked.
Oh, yes.
Because where could it all go? I still have a few Think Big product. Rick Law has a few Think Big products: a pencil, paintbrush, and a clapboard. You do have a giant pencil, but it's from something else.
Yeah, that was done as an individual piece by an artist back in New York City, and
that pencil traveled.
It did.
That pencil came from that giant thing came from the East Coast.
It did, with the the illusion of an eraser.
Yeah.
And a little band.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the pencil before the eraser.
I like that you described it. It looks like a pencil. Mm-hmm. You see, a pencil has an eraser, and it looks like a pencil. It's a pencil.
A yellow lead pencil.
Like a yellow pencil. It's we have lots of tchotchke. Hi, Mabel. As long as that's actual food and not more rocks, that's okay with me. Thank you, dear. Toys. Scott and I keep finding rocks in our bed. That's they're just like, "Look, we brought you this gift of a rock. It's in your bed now. You're welcome." It's like, thanks, dogs. Now, what have you been watching? Because Scott and I just watched a whole bunch of new stuff.
Well, then you probably have more to talk about. Well, one of the things I can't talk about yet is season 7 of Bosch,
which you guys blew right on through.
We couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah.
We've been fans of the series from day one. And Michael Connelly, who
wrote
the books, many books about Harry Bosch, LAPD Detective Harry Bosch, that inspired this show, was a guest on our podcast, and you can find that.
We got to
online.
talk to him, which was cool.
Michael's great, and he's very hands-on involved in this series. And at the end of last year's series, which is probably 2 years ago, where did the last year go?
I don't know. We know where it went.
Yeah, we slipped through that.
Disappeared.
Crack, right?
It doesn't exist.
The end of season 6 seemed like a perfect rounding out of everything for the series.
Yeah.
And they said, no, they'll be back. I thought, I hope they don't kind of stretch it just for the sake of. No, season 7 is dynamite. It's terrific.
That's the thing. I always say, technically you can't talk about it, but really that only means if you don't like it.
What it is it's not being made public till June 25. I think. So forgive me for speaking out of turn, people at Amazon.
I say they don't mind if you like it. They only mind you keeping an embargo when you don't like something. If you don't like it, then they'd like you to stay very quiet for as long as possible. If you like it a lot, you can talk about it whenever you want.
Another one I can discuss is we also buzzed right through season 3 of the Kaminsky Method.
Yes.
Chuck Lorre's very, very good show. This year without Alan Arkin. I thought, well, how do you do the show without Alan Arkin? Well, you'll find out when you watch. It's only 6 episodes. But Michael Douglas is great. They brought in Kathleen Turner for I think the novelty value of reuniting her and Michael Douglas, and it works.
Yeah,
it works for the series, and it's so well written, so smart. And Chuck Lorre, who is Mr. Super Producer, executive producer of so many hit half-hour comedy shows like Mom and.
Big Bang Theory.
That's right.
Big Bang Theory.
Going on like that. Anyway.
But we've been so lucky. We got to interview him.
Yeah. And anyway, he wrote these himself.
Yeah.
He directed the first couple of this new season. And so it's a very personal project. And we just love him. We couldn't stop. We went through the first 4. And tomorrow I'll watch the other 2.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
So that's me. But I've also been watching. I brought down a couple of Blu-rays to show.
Did you like Kim's Convenience?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Mommy said she wasn't sure if it was a one-trick pony or not.
We enjoyed season 1, episode 1.
There you go. Yeah.
Which establishes it. And I'll watch more. I'll watch more of that. Okay.
Well, he was saying it's always great to see Musso's as a regular in a popular show.
Yes.
Musso and Frank's here in Hollywood is one of those places that, especially a buff, can't help but smile when they see it.
Established 1919. It's now past its 100th birthday.
Yes, which again in LA is a miracle.
Yeah.
So that's why it's exciting.
The folks at Kino Lorber have put out
a
rare silent film called The Woman One Longs For.
It's a great shot of her.
It's a shot of young Marlene Dietrich before she was sort of Hollywoodized, and before she made The Blue Angel. At one point, she claimed The Blue Angel was her debut, and that she didn't really make films in Germany. I don't know why she said that, but she made films in Germany, and this is one of them. This is, I think, the last one before The Blue Angel. It's 1929. And it's been restored by the F.W. Murnau Foundation. Anyway, I'm trying to find all the right credits here. And it's got a good orchestral score. But it's a mood piece.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mood piece with a constantly moving camera. And it's a melodramatic mood piece. And I really went for it.
Good.
Directed by Kurt Bernhardt. Who became Curtis Bernhardt when he came to Hollywood and directed A Stolen Life with Bette Davis, Possessed with Joan Crawford, Miss Sadie Thompson with Rita Hayworth. Very successful here in Hollywood after his German film career. So that's what I recommend.
Have you ever interviewed Paul Thomas Anderson?
Well,
we've met him a bunch of times.
I've met him.
But
I've met him, but I haven't really done a I don't think I've done a real sit-down interview. The night that we honored
Who?
The actor who took his own life much too young.
There's too many of them.
Yeah, starred in.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes.
Tonight we honored Philip Seymour Hoffman in Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Paul came to present it.
Yeah.
Present the award to him.
Do you remember we had dinner with his mother? Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember that very well.
We had dinner with his mom.
Well, I met his mom on many occasions. We had one mutual friend, so we saw her on more than one occasion, and we found out that he went to
a school that I went to, and so we met him a handful of times. He's really, really nice,
and that he grew up like next door to Mr. and Mrs. George Tomasini in Studio City. This is the kind of thing that happens out here. So Mrs. George Tomasini in the 20s and 30s was a very popular actress named Mary Bryan. She's in the silent movie version of Peter Pan. She has many, many interesting credits, and a lovely woman and an interesting woman. Her husband was Alfred Hitchcock's film editor, George Tomasini. And so young Paul Anderson was in and out of their kitchen all the time.
Yeah.
Apparently it was that kind of a close-knit, neighborhood. Go figure.
Yeah, he's lovely. And of course, he is really talented.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you like his movies or not, I think that at the very least, it always feels like they were worthwhile.
Yeah.
There's a lot of care and thought. Oh, have you ever met Terrence Malick?
No. A good friend of mine is very friendly with him, so I hope that will happen sometime.
Yeah.
The other new or recent Criterion collection, that was Kino Lorber. Criterion has released Bong Joon-ho's Memories of Murder. I think it's its second feature film.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen it. And so curious, I watched it, and then I listened to some of the interview and some of the commentary. And then about a 20-minute appreciation by Guillermo del Toro, who is so eloquent. Not just articulate,
would listen
eloquent.
To him read a phone book.
Yep. And he speaks with such passion about this film, Bong's work in general, but this film in particular, and why he likes it, why he admires it so much. Your mother was not crazy about it because it breaks some rules, but all of them deliberate. Nothing accidental about it, nothing incidental about those choices. So I recommend this film, Memories of Murder. This is the fellow, of course, if you don't know, who made Parasite.
Yes, which made such a splash
and made history.
Yeah,
made Academy Award history.
Yeah, nominated both in the foreign film and what are they calling it now?
International.
Pardon me, international film category, as well as just the
and won Best Picture.
And it won Best Picture in the main category, which is also pretty incredible. And it's just always exciting when you have a movie like that. When it gets that kind of attention, because it's yet another opportunity to see, foreign or international, whatever you'd like to call it, film is still really good film. And sometimes reading, look, late at night, I do not want to read subtitles. That's not how I relax. But when you are not tired, subtitles are not a scary thing, and you can do it. So Scott and I watched the first 2 episodes of Sweet Tooth, which is the new show that is, one of the producers is Robert Downey Jr. It just started up on Netflix. It reminds me a little bit of, we're both doing really well with names today.
Yeah.
What's the Kiwi movie?
Whale Rider?
With the no, that's longer ago.
Wilder
People?
Yeah.
Hunt for the Wilder People?
Yeah.
Is that the name of it? Hunt for the Wilder People?
Something like that. Very close to that.
Hold, please.
You're hovering around.
Hold, please.
You're hovering around being accurate.
Hunt for the Wilder People. I got it. All right. Which is directed and written by Taika Waititi, if you did not know. That is a great film. I cannot recommend that movie enough.
That's
I love it.
The ultimate sleeper.
It is. But it reminds me a little bit of that. It's very sweet and it's really interesting. And I'm intrigued to see where it goes. William says he's watching Hacks. You guys have been watching that. I mean, that's
Yes.
up next on my list. And you're liking it so far.
Yeah, Hacks with
Gene Smart.
Gene Smart playing a character very much inspired by Joan Rivers, and on the level of success of Joan Rivers, and with some of the work ethic and some of the peccadillos one associates with Joan Rivers as well, and Hannah Einbinder, who plays this young comedy writer who's hit a wall in her career.
What was that? She hit a what?
Wall.
Thank you.
And is the daughter of Lorraine Newman.
Yeah.
Whom you may remember, of course, as one of the original cast members or early cast members of Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And who hasn't stopped working. She does voices, not just for cartoons, but, in looping voices.
It's been interesting. So I watch, my husband loves animation. He loves comic books and all that kind of stuff. So he will, which is how we started watching the Harley Quinn series that it started airing, I guess, 2017 or 2018. And it stars Kaylee Cuoco and Lake Bell and Alan Tudyk, and a bunch of other fantastic people. It's really, really good. It's on HBO Max. HBO Max, which breaks every 10 seconds. It's just the worst thing, but it's where stuff is, so you just deal with it. But it's really well written. And I will say this a million times, my country for a really well-written anything. I don't care if it's a commercial. I don't care what it is. It's so, so, so good and funny and clever. But it is also really interesting because if you watch a lot of animated stuff, so we watch usually on Sunday nights, you have Simpsons, Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, and now The Great North, which is another really sweet show. Great North is another really, really good show. You start to see the same handful of actors who are just working 24/7. Tony Hale never stops, but there's a whole bunch of them like that just work. So yeah, Harley Quinn, if you like that stuff at all, it's a really good series, and we could very easily get through. It's only 2 seasons so far. I just found out, and I can't say, that a friend of ours is in season 3 because I posted about how much I like the show, and he sent me a message and he said, don't tell anyone, but I'm in season 3. So I'm very excited about that. We've also been watching Mythic Quest. Have you guys seen Mythic Quest yet? It is on Apple. This is what you have to remember now, all these places, right? Mythic Quest is from a bunch of the folks who created It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And it's the first season we liked a lot. The second season, they've gone off the rails. And it's interesting, but every episode is completely different. They're doing time jumps, they're doing all kinds of stuff, to the point where in 2 separate episodes, my husband looked at me and said, are you sure we're watching the right show? And he wasn't kidding. It's like, did we hit the wrong, but did they make a mistake? So yeah, it's a fun thing to watch. But I'd be interested if you guys have seen it and have any thoughts. Yeah, Mayor of Easttown. My mom and I watched that. You didn't.
I watched episode 1.
Yeah.
And I got a taste of it.
It was fine, and it's over now. So that's...
But people won't stop talking about it.
Yeah. I think because...
It hit a cultural nerve.
It did. Well, but again, remember that anytime you have these limited series, especially with certain star power, just like The Undoing, everybody watches. In part because it's a short investment.
Yes.
You're not signing up for the next 10 years of your life.
Yeah.
It's 8 episodes or 7 episodes, whatever it is. And so people get really into it. With Mayor, it's been funny to see who liked the ending and who didn't. And who, like Mommy and I, sort of felt like this is yet another one where they stretched it as far as they could. It could have been like 3 episodes and you would have been fine. But again, have you guys watched that? Did you like it?
Have you heard anything about the Philly DA?
No.
It's on PBS.
Okay.
And it's a 6-part documentary series.
What app is that? What app is PBS? No, go ahead.
It's a 6-part documentary series that I've been reading great things about. Okay. And we saw a preview for it last night, and we may give it a try.
All right. Yeah, that's. I told Mommy to try, because when you went to sleep, she tried watching some of Sweet Tooth, and she's not sure. My mom doesn't really like sci-fi. I explained that this is, to me, I think is going to be deeper than that. But yeah, I told her just try to watch the first episode because I think you'll like it. And she may or she may not. She can be quite particular. And then we watched the movie Underwater, which is the one with Kristen Stewart and Vincent Cassel, and a whole bunch of others. And it is another one that's on HBO Max. They're underwater, and there's some scary stuff under there. And that's the movie.
And that's the movie.
That's the whole. So it ended, and it was one of those where Scott and I looked at each other and went, okay. Some of these films. And it's so many good people, and I will watch Vincent Cassel do anything. I love him. And Kristen Stewart's really good in it. But yeah, it's another one of those movies
Vincent Cassel being the son of Jean-Pierre Cassel.
Yes.
One of the great actors in French cinema.
And husband of.
Oh, he's married to Monica Bellucci.
That's right.
Yes.
Who is just an incredible actress and possibly one of the prettiest human beings on the planet. Never heard of Mythic Quest. Sounds like it should be under Mythbusters. No, Mythic Quest is it's a scripted show about guys who a guy who's created a video game and sort of where they work, and it's clever. It's, I say, the first season's really good. The second season, I'm not sure yet. Robert has already seen all of Sweet Tooth, and just has to be another season. Did you like it? I mean, I'm also, my mom and I are completists. Sometimes we'll watch all of something even if we don't like it. We just can't help it. Lynn says, I thought Kate Winslet and Jean Smart were fantastic in Mare of Easttown. They were. I felt it was more about grief and the murder mystery was secondary. Guy Pearce was wasted there. Guy Pearce 100% did this as a favor. Because otherwise, why is he there? Because he's so talented. Why is he there? But yeah, that was and then we finished the night with Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, because there's never a bad time for that.
Okay.
But yeah, a bunch of stuff. And I'm excited about Sweet Tooth because it's something to look forward to, which is always nice. And I do watch Handmaid's Tale, and I have been watching Cruel Summer as well. My mom and I are the TV junkies.
We're on season 4 of The Wire.
Yes.
This is our make good. If you haven't heard us discuss it before, everyone talks about what a great, sort of like really groundbreaking, influential show The Wire was.
And you agree.
And we now agree. We're in the majority opinion for once.
Yeah, which I think is fair. Robin says he's just about to delve into the Mighty Garbo's catalog. Any favorites or recommendations?
Well, I am under the spell of Greta Garbo. Always have been. Favorites: Queen Christina.
Yep.
For sure.
This box set has Mata Hari, Anna Karenina, Anna Christie, Camille, Queen Christina, Ninochka.
Yeah.
And exciting extras. Exciting extras. I definitely read that as exciting extras.
Ninochka, you shouldn't watch that until you've seen. Ninochka was a break for Garbo from doing drama, gut-wrenching drama, and melodramatic stories, historic pieces, and then she did this one comedy with the great Ernst Lubitsch, and it's a delightful film.
It's great. Will you keep doing this for your adoring fans? We will stream with you as long as we can. Once the world starts up again, it may be harder to do, but we will do our very best because we enjoy it so much.
Yep.
Were you ever asked to do a film review program like Siskel and Ebert? Well, you did.
I did for 3 years, a weekend half-hour movie review show called Hot Ticket.
Hot Ticket.
Hardly a man is now alive.
Hot Ticket.
To remember it, but
just follows you at night. Hot Ticket. Okay.
It started, in brief, it started out as a panel show with a host, Todd Newton, nice fellow, and it was patterned on Bill Maher's show, Politically Incorrect, with guest stars and an anchor person who was me, the film critic.
And you was that anchor.
And we had all sorts of people come and go. and it was very complicated to do because we had to get the guest stars to get to screenings.
Yeah, it was complicated.
Yeah, and
then it switched to being, someone here says, I used to watch Hot Ticket every week. You're the one. No.
There was someone out there. Glad there was someone out there.
Yeah. And then it became you and Joyce Kulhaywick.
A longtime critic and entertainment reporter in Boston.
Yep.
And so we did it for another couple of years.
And then you and Gray Drake, our friend Gray Drake, you two have done stuff for Reels channel. So yeah, all sorts of things along those lines. What famous movies that will never be made do you wish you could see? Orson Welles' Heart of Darkness, Hitchcock's Kaleidoscope. For me, it's Kubrick's Napoleon. Well, you've seen Napoleon.
Well, not that.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, there's so many what ifs, involved in that. I don't know what captures my fancy. I'll have to ponder that.
I think that you are always excited when people discover, like when they made those discoveries, those Ford discoveries in New Zealand, when they find films that people thought were gone.
Oh, yeah.
There's all that Frozen in Time. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. It's not called Frozen in Time. It's called...
Isn't it?
No.
Okay.
Another title. Not our day for...
Is it in a Dakota?
No. It's
too many movies
about finding all the films that were in permafrost in the Yukon.
Yeah. In Dawson City, Frozen Time.
Okay.
Yeah. Frozen Time. So it's called Dawson City Frozen Time. It came out in 2016, and it says the history of Dawson City, the gold rush town that had historical treasure of forgotten silent films buried in permafrost for decades until 1978.
Very, very interesting movie.
Yeah. So I think that's sort of more what you guys, all of you archivists, enjoy, is discovering something that you thought was gone. Less so the stuff that was never finished. But
true.
Yeah. Jonathan, who always asks you about animation, says, I've been enjoying your classic cartoon video, Bugs and Daffy, Wartime cartoons. What is your favorite wartime cartoon from Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies?
Well, some of them are actually uncomfortable to watch with their extreme stereotypes, especially the Japanese stereotypes. But that's what happens during war. We demonize our enemy because it's what you do when you don't want to treat them as a human being or think of them as a fellow human being.
Yeah, makes it easier.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a favorite of those. Does Drafty Daffy count, where Daffy's trying to dodge the little man from the draft board? That's a great cartoon.
That counts. Richard says, what is your favorite Madge Evans film?
Oh, I like her so much in so many films. Maybe David Copperfield. She's got a good part in that. I got to meet and interview her. She was married to the great playwright Sidney Kingsley, the man who wrote Dead End and Detective Story. And she lived quite near me in New Jersey. And I spent a lovely afternoon with her.
Hi, Meech. You want to come up? Get her up? Hi. This is White Lightning here, who we don't often see because she's running around so fast. But this is how big Mabel is now. Look at how giant Mabel is. Our little 7-month-old who's not so little anymore. Sorry, I'll keep going. I'm sorry, Mabel. I'm sorry I stopped you on your quest to get somewhere. 1 second. Why is Hollywood such a center for American film? How did it start?
It started for two main reasons. One was
good weather.
And not only good weather, but a variety of
locations,
topography. You could, within a reasonable amount of time, go to the mountains, go to the ocean, go to the desert, all doable here. And so that was a big attraction. And then it was 3,000 miles away from the Patent Trust, the Edison Patent Trust. And at a time when there were some rebellious producers who didn't want to pay the royalties that the Patent Trust was asking for the use of the the camera, I think it was the shutter device,
Mm-hmm.
the intermittent shutter device.
When in doubt, it comes to money.
Mm-hmm.
When in doubt. But yeah, it's a big piece of it is that California, the state, but also Southern California specifically, does lend itself to being so many places.
Yeah.
And you will hear certain areas get used constantly. Santa Clarita, which is just a little bit north of us, that is every Western you've ever seen. Like Westworld, they shot Westworld there.
Mm-hmm. If you drive to Pomona, and so there's a university there,
yeah,
you could think you were in New England.
Yeah. There's a lot here, and truly the weather makes a huge difference because the odds of you getting snowed or rained out, not very high.
Mm-hmm.
We're very, very fortunate for that. It allows us to do a lot. Ryan says, with his birthday coming up on Saturday, I'd love to know how your friend Richard Sherman has been doing. I'm also interested to know if you met him before you both recorded some of the commentaries for Walt Disney Treasures, More Silly Symphonies, or if that was your first time.
First time I met him was on assignment for Entertainment Tonight. I went to his home in Beverly Hills, and his brother Bob joined us. Mm. And I did, a sort of a Meet the Sherman Brothers interview, and they demonstrated their songs.
Yeah.
Richard playing piano and the two of them singing. And Bob told how his son came home from school one day and had gotten the Salk vaccine, the polio vaccine. And did it hurt? Well, they gave you a little piece of sugar. A little bit of sugar helps the medicine go down. Ha! Song cue. So anyway, that was the first time I met Richard and Robert. And Richard has remained a dear, cherished family friend, and he's doing okay. He still likes sitting at the piano and noodling and coming.
That's his favorite thing to do. He loves to work. He loves to write. It's what makes him happiest. Mm-hmm. He's 92.
I think so.
I think he's 92. Yeah, our birthdays are 4 days apart, and so we try to celebrate together when we can. And we got to see him last month, and he's doing really, really well. But yet, being 92, he's just a bit slower, and it can take a minute. But at the same time, again, you get him talking about something like music, and
or his dad.
Or, his
songwriting dad. He
loved his dad so much and still is so proud of him. Al Sherman. Richard is magic. Richard is absolute magic. And being with him is just nothing. There's nothing like it.
It's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
It is true. That is exactly what it is.
And I can't say it backwards. I'm sorry.
No. Can't do that. See, even he at 92 can do that backwards. Even that. Yeah, hopefully we'll see him again soon and get to hug him, because that's the best thing. There's nothing better than time with Richard, really and truly. Who is your favorite Charlie Chan? Amy's asking. I'm a Sidney Toler fan.
So is my wife, but I favor Warner Oland.
Same. Again, I've talked about this before, but I feel like whatever you grew up with, so whoever your first Batman was is always going to be your Batman. Same with Superman, what have you. So you and I have the same Superman, because the first time I saw him were those serials my dad showed me.
TV series.
Forgive me. So when I close my eyes, the first one that comes to my mind is him. And for you, and you said your Batman is
Adam West.
Adam West, same thing. It's
because the guys who played him in those two tacky Columbia serials never quite caught it.
But yeah, so for me, again, if I close my eyes and think Charlie Chan, I immediately see Warner Oland. Can't help it. Never sure if I'll make the live stream. That's okay, Robert. You're allowed to have a life. But he said, what is your highest rated D-Day movie and why? Documentaries are allowed.
Oh, boy. Well, I think Saving Private Ryan kind of wipes everything else off the map. There are a lot of great things in The Longest Day, but what Spielberg accomplished in that film, tough as it is to watch, and it is tough, it's unforgettable. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Well, you can see even as you think about it, the emotions are there.
Yeah.
And that's something,
Is it? Do you think this is going to photograph? Oh dear, it's coming apart. Wait a minute. That's not good.
Yeah, that's. Last question I'll just throw in. I'd love for Leonard to wax poetic on my favorite musical, Love Me Tonight. It doesn't seem to get the love or recognition today that I believe it should.
You're right. Start with that. You're right. It's a great movie with not only songs but rhyming dialogue by Richard Rodgers and Lorenz Hart, who were very fond of rhyming dialogue and did it for a number of movies, including the wonderful film Hallelujah, I'm a Bum, directed by Louis Milestone. Love Me Tonight is just it's poetry. It's cinematic poetry married with music, and the great Maurice Chevalier and Jeanette MacDonald star with incomparable supporting cast. And people who haven't seen it, or its opening, where the music is introduced organically to the images, are missing out on something really swell.
And you don't do better than swell. All right, I have no idea, but let's try. Let's see if I can get this past the flash.
Yeah, it works. It works. It's there. This is one of the earliest examples I know of product placement. Product placement, yes. There's a scene in Frank Capra's It Happened One Night where Clark Gable goes to a Western Union desk or office to send a telegram. It's part of the story of the movie. So they made it official and turned it into a quid pro quo advertising campaign. And I just love finding that ad. It was a great find. I found a second one tied into the 1933 version of Little Women. Now, I don't think there's any product placement in Louisa May Alcott's Little Women.
Oh, there's lots of product placement. You know what? It's just so good you don't even notice it. That's what it is. The product placement is so on point that you're not even aware it's happening.
That's how good it is. Yep.
I love that. Christopher's saying he prefers watching Band of Brothers over Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
It's also a good one. You can't go wrong. You know, they're all good ones. Hi. Yeah. Is there anything? Well, tomorrow, and we can say because so many people have been reviewing and we haven't seen it. We have not seen it yet. Tomorrow, my dad and I are going to go see In the Heights. Going to a screening of In the Heights, and my fingers are crossed big time. I really want it to be good. I really hope it is good. And yeah, we'll report back hopefully very soon. I'm also really excited to get to see it on a big screen because that, to me, and same with West Side Story, I wouldn't want to watch them at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was obviously last year getting to see Hamilton at all was a thrill for everybody, especially because we were right in the midst of this crazy. But, you know, it's meant to be big screen.
Mm-hmm.
And we really like John M. Chu, the director, and I have faith that he's created something cool. So as I say, fingers crossed, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you're looking forward to right now?
Well, after that, a week later, we'll get to see
F9.
F9.
F not F9.
Yeah. So
we get to see the new Fast and Furious or F9, which we'll see. My mother is going to come, and it's the worst. I will say it here so that when she tells us how much she hates it, I can say, see, I told you. My mom, understandably, she wants to be included. She's like, well, if you're all going, then I want to go see it. I said, okay. But what I don't want to hear is halfway through the movie when you're like, there's so much noise and I hate this. Okay. All right. You wanted to be here.
She has a right to experience it.
She has a right to experience it. And then we have a right to say, no complaining, Alice. You put yourself right in this seat. And we get to see it at the Chinese, which we have not gotten to go there in such a long time.
Yep.
We will always call it Grauman's Chinese. We will never call it the TC, whatever the heck it is, because it's Grauman's Chinese Theater till the day I die. But yeah, so that's it for us at the moment. Did you show all the DVDs you wanted to?
Well, I didn't get to plug these, and we're still hoping to. He still wants to do the podcast.
I mean, he's just busy. He's working.
He's a busy guy.
There's
Ramin Barani,
really
Oscar
talented
nominee this year for his screenplay adaptation of The White Tiger, a film on Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, it's really good. I'm told the novel is even better, but he did a great job with that. These are his first two feature films, Man Push Cart and Chop Shop. These were made on a budget of like, $50,000 each.
Yeah.
In New York City, and with non-professional actors, or as Sean Baker, whose new film was going to be at Cannes.
I know, because Chris Bergosh worked on it again with him. Yeah, I know.
He calls them first timers.
Yes, which we love.
It's a great euphemism. It's really, really, really neat.
It's respect. It's not like you're new and you've never done this before. It's that this is your first time, and isn't that exciting?
And these two films just blew me away when I first saw them. Man Push Cart, about a guy an immigrant who gets up in the wee hours of the morning to prepare to run a coffee cart in the middle of Manhattan. And Chop Shop is about a shop in Queens near Shea Stadium, where there's a lot of auto repair places. And a boy, like a 13-year-old boy, has to fend, 12-year-old boy, has to fend for himself and make his way through life. And a very tough life it is. But he has a sort of patron in the guy who owns the chop shop. Two completely original films.
Ramin,
not like anything else you've seen.
Ramin Barani, really talented guy, good name to know. So yeah, that's us for this week, my friends. As always, you can send us questions online and we're happy to answer them. I hope that everybody is staying safe and being careful. It's still crazy out there. And yeah, thank you as always for joining us. We love spending our Sundays with you.
And we'll do so for the foreseeable future.
So until then,
bye-bye, gang.
Bye, everybody.